You are now watching Demeech.
The Super Mario Bros. Movie has been one of the most anticipated events for Nintendo fans this year. It's been in development for a long time, and the trailers overall were very promising. It seemingly was shaping up to be the greatest video game movie ever made. Going in, I was quite excited. An animated movie isn't something the Mario series has done, outside of the anime from 1986 with Yellow Luigi. There were some concerns about a Mario movie, not only because of what happened in 1993, but the Mario series itself not having much in terms of story and character development. But considering this is a movie, it very well could have brought new lore to the Mario series. However, things seemingly took a different pipe. The movie was expected to get critical acclaim, but critics were less than favorable. With an average to mixed reception on Rotten Tomatoes, things weren't looking too spicy. However, when it comes to movies, I can usually enjoy a movie even if it's critically panned. Usually those that are so bad that they're funny. Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat instantly comes to mind, and considering the movie was designed for Mario fans in mind, perhaps the critics weren't in the target demographic. It does raise a question though. How come movie critics tend to be way more critical to what they review, but gaming journalists often tend to be more forgiving? Because I often see games on Metacritic that are panned by the fan base get pretty decent scores, whereas with movies, a lot of movies that get scores that are either mixed to negative end up being universally loved by the fans. But with all this being said, I went into the Super Mario Bros. Movie, got the question block popcorn tin, and even saw it in 3D. Though unlike the 3DS, I needed glasses. Considering this is a movie, watching it is an experience, so for the review, I won't be spoiling anything major. You've probably seen the movie already, so I'll go over things that might be considered kinda spoilery, things like a power-up or two, but nothing integral to the plot or anything like that. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, you should be good to go. But if you want a completely unspoiled experience, watch this review after you watch the movie. So with that being said, is the Super Mario Bros. Movie truly super? Or is it nothing more than an Illumination movie? Because, most Illumination movies aren't very good. The story of the Super Mario Bros. Movie follows Mario and Luigi starting up their plumbing business. Considering it's relatively unsuccessful, they are overjoyed when they get their first clientele. Unfortunately, not everything goes according to plan, and Mario and Luigi end up getting warped to different dimensions, with Luigi ending up in Bowser's Darklands, while Mario gets the better end of the deal and ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom. Meanwhile, Bowser is plotting to take over the world, causing Princess Peach to stand her guard and defend the Mushroom Kingdom. Meanwhile, Mario is on a mission to save Luigi, and considering he's in the hands of Bowser, him, Peach, Toad, and even Donkey Kong team up to stop him. The plot is simple, and it's what you'd expect out of a Mario movie. Bowser is bad, and Mario and friends need to stop him. Unlike the critics, I don't think having a basic plot is a problem, because there could still be interesting scenarios that take place during the events of what's going on. And the thing is, the Super Mario Bros. Movie does have a lot of interesting and unique scenarios you initially wouldn't expect. The first portion of the movie showcases the lives of the brothers in Brooklyn. This is something that hasn't been seen or elaborated on in the games, and is completely new to the movie. You had a general idea of what it could have been like, based on early Mario games like Mario Bros. And Wrecking Crew, but the Super Mario Bros. Movie completely illustrates the Brooklyn Italian aspect of the Mario Brothers in much greater detail. What's interesting is that the Mario Brothers aren't seen as perfect or heroic, they are seen as unaccomplished. Their former boss Foreman Spike has a sort of bully vibe to him, calling the Mario Brothers the stupid Mario Brothers, and overall he's kind of a jerk, which suits the character well considering he was an antagonist in Wrecking Crew, one of the first Mario games, and quite an underrated one at that. He reminds me of Wario, rude and a rival, but not evil. They did a great job with his character, and it would be cool to see him back in a new Mario game. It's expected Foreman Spike would laugh at the Mario Brothers, but it's not just him that disapproves. The Mario Brothers family disapproves of them as well, and their plumbing business. That's right, we finally get to see Mario's family. This was one of the highlights of the film for me, considering we've never seen Mario's family before, and it answers questions us as Mario fans have wondered for years. What I might have expected is seeing the Mario Brothers' parents, which we get to see, but it turns out the Mario Brothers live with a pretty large Italian family, with presumably many uncles and cousins. As someone who is in a Greek family, which has a similar culture to Italy, this really hit close to home. Families are very close rather than distant, and it's common to have many relatives be very close and together often. Beyond just parents, I love seeing Mario's family, and it made me wish we saw more of the movie based on the dynamics between them. Mario and Luigi's parents disapprove of them, but it's never showcased why. There could have been a good reason why they didn't have faith in them besides just a commercial, but it's not elaborated on. Just quick to dismiss them based on the commercial. This is an area they could have given more time in the film to, considering how it's a side of Mario we've never seen before, and I would have loved to see it elaborated on. Not just the family dynamic, but more of the lives in Brooklyn. Maybe it could have showcased Mario and Luigi working for Foreman Spike's wrecking crew, or having other unsuccessful endeavors leading up to the disapproval from their family. Like there could have been a montage showing Mario and Luigi failing at demolition, Mario trying to be a doctor, just like the mayor of Pasco County, even Luigi as a janitor that doesn't know how to use a vacuum. Stuff along the lines of that would have been really cool to see, and definitely would elaborate on the disapproval from the family. But the overall segments in Brooklyn were excellent, and it showcased the side of the series we haven't seen. I just wish there were more of them. Then we get into the cheap out of water portion. Mario is transported to the Mushroom Kingdom. We had a feeling he was an outsider, but this movie fully showcases that this is a place he has never been, and he's completely unfamiliar with, and how it's very different from the Brooklyn he grew up in. The way the downtown is set up is interesting too. It's essentially as if Toads live their day-to-day lives at an amusement park. You mean like at Universal Studios? Ha ha ha! Cha-ching! This is where Mario meets Toad and then Peach. Considering Mario's after Bowser too, Mario tries to persuade Peach he's capable of defeating him, which leads to Peach testing his abilities, and considering Mario is new to it, he fails many times. It does a great job showing Mario's an outsider, and still has a lot to learn. Meanwhile, Luigi ends up in Bowser's Darklands. We get a really cool Luigi's Mansion inspired scene where Luigi thinks he took down Dry Bones, only for him to be chased down by an entire army of them, straight into Bowser's castle. This is where Luigi ends up prisoner, and the reason why Bowser captures him is because he was informed Peach could potentially be seeing a similar looking guy with an identical red outfit and a mustache, so Luigi is used to get information out of, pretty much being an informant. Unfortunately, this is where there start to be some issues with the movie. There are two main issues I have with the Bowser's Darkland segments. For one, there's hardly any of them, and it leaves some unanswered questions. Why is Luma Lee here? The penguins make sense, but he's the sole Luma Bowser captured. Maybe just for comedic relief? But the biggest problem is that Luigi doesn't get to do anything to try to escape. He just gets locked in a cage, and that's it. Why not give him his own adventure trying to escape Bowser's castle where he needs to learn the ropes? For example, he encounters Boos going after him, and realizes that he can stun them with his flashlight. Then he could find a vacuum to vacuum him up. Stuff along the lines of that would have been interesting to see, but unfortunately, Luigi doesn't get enough screen time. The problem isn't just that he's captured, it's that he's captured and can't do anything to escape. Real shame there because I love Luigi in the movie and I wanted to see more of him. The focus of the movie isn't so much about the Mario Brothers, it's more about Mario's dynamics with Peach, Toad, and Donkey Kong. You might wonder how Donkey Kong plays a role here, and the movie does something interesting we haven't seen in Mario games. Similar to the Brooklyn portion, it turns out the Kongs run an entirely different kingdom, and are known for their strong army. So Peach tries to persuade Cranky Kong, the Emperor of the Kongs, to have their army team up with the Mushroom Kingdom, and the way to achieve it would be having Mario defeat Donkey Kong in a fight. The way it's set up is excellent. Donkey Kong has an arrogant personality, and is so confident he can take down Mario, but deep down, he's kind of insecure. This sets him up to be a great rival to Mario, and creates an interesting dynamic between the two. This was one of the highlights for me. But just like the Brooklyn segments, I wish there were more parts showcasing the dynamic between Mario and DK. Not even that much, just maybe 2 or 5 more minutes of it. There's more that goes on during the film, but I don't want to spoil anything. But the overall plot is fine at a surface level. The lack of a compelling story isn't the issue, it's that the movie's pacing is incredibly fast. The Mushroom Kingdom portion, perfect length there, but there could have been way more in terms of the Brooklyn portion, as well as giving Luigi more time to shine. The fact that Luigi is underutilized is my main gripe with the film, because Charlie Day does a fantastic job voicing him, and like I said, even if he was captured, I would have liked to see him trying to escape. We did see a bit of it where he entered the Darklands, but there's just not enough of it. But overall the plot is good, it just didn't live up to its full potential. Characters and character development are another important aspect of a movie, and considering most Mario characters don't have compelling personalities, this was the movie's chance to give them more defined personalities. Luigi and Bowser are exactly how they are in the games. Luigi is a bit cowardly, and really looks up to his older brother, and Bowser, while appearing to be a threat, is actually pretty goofy. But Mario, on the other hand, is known not to have much in terms of personality, essentially just being a standard Mickey Mouse-like character that you can put into anything. Things like tennis, and a golf, and a baseball, and a soccer, and a kart racing, and a practicing medicine. However, not charity work. The movie, however, solidifies Mario as an everyman, but he also has a side where he lacks confidence. After being disapproved by his parents, he feels the need to prove himself, even if he isn't capable of doing so, but he is willing to learn and will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. Donkey Kong, on the other hand, is cocky, but also has similar insecurities. He's a rival similar to Foreman Spike, which makes sense, and seeing the rivalry but also friendship between the two was really cool. Toad is another highlight. In the games, he's primarily known to be annoying. Stay perky! But in the movie, he's a really fun character who's a go-getter, always wants to have fun, and make new friends. Essentially like an enthusiastic younger brother to Mario. This goes more into the voice acting portion, but I love Toad's voice here. It's absolutely perfect for him. I would say all the characters are in character and are further developed. I do wish Bowser was more of a threat, but overall, the characters are excellent. Except for one glaring exception. Let's talk about the pit in the room. Princess Toadstool. Peach. One of the most heavily discussed aspects about the movie was how Peach's character would be handled. Contrary to popular belief, Princess Peach is not helpless. In some games, yeah. What does she even do in any of the new Super Mario Bros. Games? But there's a lot to her character that goes somewhat unnoticed. She's heroic and is willing to fight for the Mushroom Kingdom or help the Mario Brothers out. In Super Mario 3D World, she goes after Bowser to save the Sprixie Kingdom, despite her history with the King of the Koopas, and in the RPGs, she's often a playable character. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope is a very recent example of this, where Peach is absolutely willing to fight. The fact that Peach isn't the damsel in distress is a great thing. It's a cliche, boring plot device that I'm honestly not a fan of, and that side of Peach is here. What Peach's character in the movie doesn't include is her sweet side. She's very kind in the games, and truly cares about the Mushroom Kingdom and her friends. Say what you want about Odyssey's ending, but that was the exception, not the rule. Princess Peach's own game, Super Princess Peach, does a great job showing Peach's heroic side, but also sweet side. The game has a very sweet vibe to it, with pastel colors and environments, and dare I say, it's kind of girly. But that's okay. That's what makes a great character, having layers. But unfortunately, Peach in the movie is kind of mean, and is sort of made to be a Mary Sue who can do no wrong. There aren't many moments where Peach encounters a challenge, and even when there are, she solves the problem instantly. The issue with Peach's character isn't her being a girl boss, it's that that's her primary personality. There are a few moments where Peach and Mario seemingly have some chemistry, but it doesn't lead anywhere. Princess Peach is the only character in the movie I felt wasn't very well developed, and she didn't have enough depth to her personality, but she's not bad to the point of being obnoxious or a major detriment to the film. And when I said she's sort of a Mary Sue, she's only a Mary Sue in a way, not encountering many challenges and being seemingly perfect. Don't worry, she's not an extreme case of a Mary Sue like Chloe from the Fairly Odd Parents, but it's a character that definitely needed more development and needed more personality. The plot and some of the characters are flawed, but one area of the movie that is dang near perfection is the presentation. The characters had to be redesigned a bit, considering it's an absolute blockbuster compared to a video game, and I have to say, all the characters look great. They're more detailed, but still look faithful to the games. Some look even better than the games, such as Bowser and Donkey Kong. When I initially saw an image of Mario's design, I was a bit skeptical, but in motion, it looks excellent. Though I will say, Luigi is a better brother as always once again. The environments are also very detailed and look phenomenal. They're bright and colorful, and even Brooklyn looks inviting. We do get to see a lot more human characters, but they look like Mario characters. This is something I wish Super Mario Odyssey did with New Donk City. I saw the movie in 3D, and it's the absolute ideal way to see it. Though like I said before, how ironic is it that you don't need glasses to play Super Mario 3D Land, but you need them to watch this movie? There are also a ton of references to the series, from the early years of Donkey Kong to the modern classic Super Mario Odyssey. It pays great homage to the Mario series, and you can tell the producers are fans of the Mario series as well. Part of the fun is spotting all the references, and it'll make this movie so rewatchable. The soundtrack has gotten universal acclaim, and for good reason. It takes the music from the games and orchestrates them to fit the situations, like when Toad introduces himself, a rendition of the Captain Toad theme is there, and there are so many moments like that throughout the film, and it goes to show how it's faithful to the games, but adapts to be a movie. Then, we get into the pop songs. What did I think? I personally had no issue with them. Sure, they can be seen as a bit jarring compared to the incredible original soundtrack, but they're not that frequent, and at the very least, they're good songs. I don't know why so many made such a huge deal out of them. They're pretty infrequent, and the amazing soundtrack outweighs them seemingly being out of place. Even if the beginning of the movie had Mario and Luigi waking up to TikTok by Kesha, it wouldn't be enough to be a detriment to the overall amazing soundtrack and stellar presentation. Voice acting is another key factor. Chris Pratt as Mario was the main concern, but I will say, he gets the job done. I wouldn't say he was great, and Charles Martinet absolutely deserved the role, but it surprisingly suited Mario well enough. Luigi, Bowser, and Toad, on the other hand, are perfect. Charlie Day, Jack Black, and Keegan-Michael Key do an excellent job playing the characters, and considering just how good Charlie Day is as Luigi, that's why I was disappointed he didn't have enough screen time. Kamek is also a standout, definitely the most underrated character in the movie. Voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, he has a sort of old wizard voice to him that fits the character so well and is really fun to listen to. And Charles Martinet does voice two characters, and as always, he is phenomenal. I still can't help but be disappointed he didn't play Mario throughout the film, because he is Mario, and he always will be, but considering just how the movie is on its own, Charles Martinet was still a highlight, just deserved the main role of Mario. Really, Mario and Peach's voices are the only ones I was indifferent towards. Didn't love them, but I didn't hate them either. Considering I go into reviews with a critical approach, I will analyze aspects with a more objective take, but even though the voice is just the actor, casting Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong and hearing it in action had me burst out laughing. He suits Donkey Kong unusually well, and whenever Donkey Kong did the famous Seth Rogen laugh, I was in tears laughing. It wasn't even meant to be a joke, but was one of the funniest moments in the film. There are quite a few funny moments in the movie, some being callbacks to games. The movie overall isn't hilarious, but that's okay, because it's overall entertaining. So far I've established the Super Mario Bros. Movie has a good plot that could have been elaborated on more. It has pretty good characters, with the exception being Peach, and it has a phenomenal presentation and is very entertaining to watch. So what's the verdict? With the Super Mario Bros. Movie, after I initially saw it, I was a lot more critical. I thought to myself, man, they had a lot going here, but they could have gone all the way. But after seeing it and letting everything sink in, I started to feel slightly differently, and I've come to terms that the Super Mario Bros. Movie was an absolute blast to watch. This movie was so much fun, and even though it had some flaws in regards to the plot and some of the characters as well as the pacing, I couldn't help but love the movie. It did a great job elaborating on the world of Super Mario more, and seeing my favorite series on the big screen was pure joy. Like I said, I watched it in 3D. I had the special popcorn tin, and it was one of the most memorable experiences I've had ever watching a movie. The movie was pure joy to watch. I was smiling consistently, was laughing throughout moments of the film, and when there were the references, I always found them to be very clever. With that being said, the Super Mario Bros. Movie gets the ranking of treasure, and it turns out I'm not the only one who feels that way, because the movie has received universal acclaim from the fans, and not only that, it is on track to becoming the most successful animated movie of all time. This is great for many reasons. It's a movie with so much love, charm, and passion put into it, and it's great to see the hard work and creativity get rewarded. It's also going to give Disney the competition that they need. We're finally in an era where we can say, Disney, hey, you're not unstoppable. You can only put out so many live-action remakes and soulless movies until people realize, you know what? We want to actually see quality movies. So it seems like Universal is going to be taking down Mickey Mouse, and I'm very happy to see that. So go along, Disney. Why don't you use the hyper-realistic doo-doo you rendered for Pinocchio for whatever your next live-action movie is? Because you know what? Both Super Mario and Puss in Boots have kicked your ass.